Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to the LCS. And I, I know it's been a little bit of a while since you guys have last saw me, so I think I might possibly want to explain myself. Now, a problem I've had sort of with this channel is how exactly do I want to present myself in terms of how do I want to set an example as to why I want to discuss certain people and what is it that stands out stands out as like why are they worth discussing? Why are people like Chris Chan worth the trouble, you might be saying, about why do we want to know, or why do we know so much about him? I should say her actually at this point, because I understand the arguments exactly why people don't refer to Chris by feminine pronouns, because of certain characteristics Chris has displayed in the past, which seems to suggest that his entire transgender decision was purely based on the fact that he thinks he can still score. She can score with as many women as possible. Despite, again, not changing anything substantial about herself or doing anything to, like, scale the property ladder or actually have any sort of job whatsoever. At this point, I think it's fair to say that if I didn't think that Christine had any chances before of getting a job, now I'm pretty sure that even by the time she comes out of prison, if at all, even prison will start to blacklist her because they don't want to put up with the smell. Okay, that might have sounded like a bit of a dismeaning sort of thing to say, but unfortunately it is, back in the day, it was one of the few things, it was one of the distinctive things in present if you've ever met Chris in public. So, let me sort of explain myself, because RageCon 2 has been happening, and I'm trying to sort of like cope with how the sort of botch disaster of how the first big step went, because the opening night, I managed to get most of my stuff up there, and stuff I'm just going to save to put out at a later date. That's sort of kind of like what I was going to plan to do, is that we've got 3 weeks until the end of January. And what I plan to do is I want to make as many videos as possible and then actually lay them out in such a way that everybody will get like a video a day on each channel, so everybody's got something to look forward to. Now, that's the one thing. Now, the other thing is that I've sort of, ever since the 31st of July of last year, I've basically tried my best to keep myself sort of like away talking about Chris Chan for a while. That's why you haven't seen any real uploads of me reacting to Geno Samuel's documentary series. I will start uploading those videos again come February. Now, that might be when Geno Samuel goes to uploading, resuming the series with part 60 again. I don't know, but I do know he updates it on Patreon rather regularly. Speaking of that, I really should be getting my Patreon going, because it's I knew I had like whole plans and that for Patreon and other things as well if people wanted special videos, but life gets in the way. What can I say? I mean, there's stuff that's happening in the next few days that I'll talk about later, but it's sort of, right now, it's not necessarily the bigger thing of the day. Now, like I was saying before, I try to keep myself away from talking about Chris, mostly because at that point I saw like it was in my mind that it was basically now in the hands of the Greene County Sheriff's Department and in the hands of the police, as well as, doctors, nurses, the federal government, judges, lawyers, police department, and whatever shit between Chris and Bella, and the fact that No basically, I'm almost calling it a disowning Chris at this point, because I watched the that stream on Dylan Thomas's channel about Noel's last interaction with Chris, and I've never in all of my... Noel is quintessentially the person where, despite everything, despite him fully knowing well who Chris is, despite, the conflictions between a lot of bad stuff did happen to Chris because of the trolls, Blue Spike, and all the rest of them. There was also some things that probably stuck out to Noah about saying, you know what, the repercussions for that were severe, so we should just allow him to get on with it. We know trolls and that will still come and invade his privacy, his personal life. And that's already, we already know that sort of stuff, but... And despite literally everything that changed with Chris, following the Idea Guys stuff, and despite a lot of things in 2017 in particular, and in 2016, from wanting to, for nearly getting arrested for treason against Donald Trump, bankruptcy, foreclosures, massive amounts of debt. I think if God Almighty, there's not talking about Chris for such a long time is really, really. It's kind of interesting when you start to realize, oh yeah, that's right, he did this, this, and this, because there are things that might come back to memory for for better or worse. Don't worry, guys. I don't have COVID, by the way. That's you don't need to get worried about that. So here's sort of just what I want to say right now about like how the situation has gone, because I did sort of at one point, well, a lot of other parts, want to do sort of like one of those videos where I wanted to sort of like lay everything out factually, basically the way this channel called Secret Limited, he does his videos, which mostly discusses DSP. So there's there's that, like doing those really, really high scale videos about DSP, but I'll do them like maybe about Chris Chan, because I think it's just about the only way at this point where I know this is a stupid thing, but when I'm like recording using my phone here, it's got like the stop and start button. I'm just sort of like just putting my like fingers around it. It's kind of funny actually, but anyway, I thought it would be like the only real way to like not only continue talking about Chris Chan and stuff like that, but sort of do it in a more collective but more substantial sort of way, because I think that's the sort of thing that I kind of want to make, and maybe that's sort of where I kind of like maybe want to go for this channel. It's sort of, do you think it would be better one video a day or one video a week, or maybe every 2 weeks, where I have something rather substantial, something a bit more high quality, and it'll be something that could show a real difference. It might be better in many ways, but that will remain to be seen. In fact, I could really start it right now, to be honest. 3 weeks to go and all that till the end of January, my 24th. I can already picture it right now. I'll be outside my house recording my future birthday message for my 25th this time next year. No, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't sound like a good idea at all. So if I had to like give any real opinion about what I thought about the whole shit about Chris going into prison, and now he thinks he's Jesus Christ, and there was one time where I heard he got put into solitary confinement because he tried to convince a guard that there was a hole in the wall or something like that. If Chris had said "Hole in the Sky" by Black Sabbath, that might be a little bit more believable and shows that Chris might have some rather substantial taste in music. I don't know. Maybe Bob owned a copy of Sabotage, perhaps. I don't know. So yeah, I am honestly like, I can't even fathom at this point exactly what on earth is what's like going on. Is Chris's hearing is like, his next hearing is like February 15th, I think. Only a couple of days, only about like just under 2 weeks until his 40th birthday, and she's gonna spend it in prison. Basically, she might even get told that it'll be a sentence. Like, she probably will get sent down for what she did. And then, but even still, if Chris was somehow released, there's absolutely no way he's ever going to be able to see Barb ever again. They wouldn't allow it. They just simply wouldn't allow it. Not only because, probably as we're speaking right now, there'll probably be judges and lawyers and that who'll probably be going through the entire series of Gino Samuel as evidence. And they'll understand that Chris has a tendency to do very irrational things when angry, from telling people not to call anybody, to hitting people with vehicles, to screeching Kamehameha at people, to what was the other stuff that he used? Or basically scream no and get banned from the mall or stuff like that. There's straight up a lot of things I think are going to come. Like, what on earth? Could you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? What on earth the world would be like if Chris Chan was out of jail and back into the free world? Where on earth would Chris even be feasibly go? Barbara is like turning 80 this year. Chris Chan will be turning 40 this year. I think Dylan Thomas said it perfectly back in August. I think honestly this is it. I think we're approaching the end game with Chris. I think this is where things are going to come to a very bleak and miserable end. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's not quite going to be the end. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come out after this. Like, cases would have been read, exemplified, articles will be written, messages will be spread, probably more copies of that Andy Warhol / Chris Chan book might get published elsewhere. I should order that book, by the way, but I don't think it's a good idea because it's sort of like it gives like, it almost tries to give some sense of warranty towards somebody who allegedly had sex with their own relative. Yeah, and again, I don't know for certain if he did or not, if she did or not, but I'm just straight up going to say I honestly I don't know. I can't say I think he did because I have no other evidence apart from that phone call. And I don't have any evidence to suggest not, because she said it so plainly in the call to Bella. The evidence, there is evidence there that something took place, and also the messages that Chris sent to know about getting a girlfriend as well. And I think we'll just sort of like leave it there. I think whatever decision is going to be made, it will be either conclusive or will be the beginning of something conclusive. Because God Almighty, where on earth do we go now, guys? But for the time being, I'm going to try and persevere and continue. I mean, there's plenty of things I still want to talk about. There's a lot of things that still have to be done. This year is just beginning. And I just wanted to make this video just to send this message out to this channel in particular, because I want to keep this going however I can. There is work to be done, ladies and gentlemen. There is always more work.